Hello, anyone who's watching. Um, Before I start today, I do have a fan on. If it's annoying, if it's being picked up by the mic, let me know and I'll try and angle it differently. It is pretty hot in here right now, so I don't really want to turn it off if I can avoid it. Otherwise, happy Friday, everyone. Hope everyone's had a decent-ish week. I don't know, depending what you do, whether you work or whatever, these months can either be great or they can be terrible depending on what your job is. Just waiting on a couple of guys to join. We need no issue with the fan. Ah, great. That's fair enough. It's not even 5-2. I'm aware, Dan. Well, give it a couple of minutes, then we'll have a run through the standings. I know everyone will probably have seen them anyway, to be honest, but right, okay. So I'm just making sure there's nothing that I'm missing before we start, because once it starts, I am terrible at keeping on top of it. Right, evening Marshall, evening Hepburn. 1 week to go to bury this little shitty game. You know what, mate? I've actually bought the new game as of like 30 minutes ago, and I am quite looking forward to it. Actually, I can move that away from my face. It's too close. I am. I don't know. I get hopeful every year, and I feel really let down this year. But I'm hoping next time's going to be better. So let's have a look at these standings anyway. So as we know, as it has been all season, it's incredibly close. 22 races in out of 24, and we are still only separated by 2.5 points at the top. I mean, it's testament to the way you guys have been racing. I've found it very entertaining. Of all like the commentary debuts to make in league racing, this has been like, for me, as good as it can get. So Zorak, our early championship leader and long-time championship leader, had a bit of a dodgy mid-season, but has now since returned to the top, sat on 248.5 points. Scarito has been thereabouts all season, 246 points, just run. Had a major charge early on, seems to have slowed a little bit in recent races, lost a little bit of that momentum, still very much in the fight though. 237 points in third. Marshall, his Red Bull teammate, a little bit far back now. It's going to be I mean, it's not impossible, it's still very much possible to take this title, but it's going to have to be one hell of a last couple of races for Marshall, and going to need some help from the drivers crashing out and so on. Hyder down in fifth, obviously well out of this championship fight now, 158, sorry. Dan in 6th on 142, Curley in 7th on 125, Hepburn in 8th on 121, Fate Jesus in 9th on 110, HKM in 11th, HKM in 10th on 91, Matty in 11th on 61, Kane in 12th on 51, Camo in 13th on 16. Yeah, same, got it on Steam, some money off with a voucher I won out of it. That's decent. Always nice to get a bit of money off. So as we know, Constructors title has been well and truly wrapped up. Red Bull have continued to extend. We could even be looking at a 300-point gap by the end of the season, depending on how Marshall and Just Run can do. They're sat at the top on 526.5. The battle for second place still very much alive. I mean, between second and fourth, we've got 33 points. So for two drivers, that's very much double in one weekend. So yeah, McLaren second, Ferrari third, Alpine fourth, Alfa Romeo fifth. They could still make places, but I think trying to get up towards that second place battle is going to be a stretch now in sixth. Williams in 7th on 142. They're battling with Mercedes really. who's sitting 8th on 127, AlphaTauri in 9th on 106, and then Aston Martin down in 10th on 76 points. So we'll flick back to me for a moment. While we get ready to start, I'll try one more time to see if Mr. Ghoul Silas will be joining us this evening. I haven't heard anything though. It may just be that there's 9 drivers. Obviously, as I explained earlier, I could have put some reserves in here to make the grid bigger. It's a bit of a trade-off. I know it's not as much fun when you're racing with a less amount of drivers, but by the same token, the stage this championship's at and how close it is, the last thing I want to do is bring in someone, even though they may be closely matched on pace, they may end up affecting something, you know, that really wants to be fought between you guys to figure out who's going to come out on top. So that, obviously, the same will go for next week as well. If there are reserves, I'm going to keep them out of this division for the remainder of this season. Obviously, come next season, it'll go back to how it was. Once we decide who's in what division that is. We are now on 7:50. Oh, literally just turned 8 o'clock, so anyone who's watching, feel free to ready up. I'll send a message out in chat and we'll get this underway, shall we? Ready up. I also just realised I need to move my camera up. I moved my the whole seat for my rig. I dropped it a lot on a spur of the moment decision on Monday, and I still haven't. This is literally the first time I've got around to actually streaming again, so everything's out of place. Right, let's flick over to the live. There we go. Predictions, anyone for this one? Who's feeling confident around Hungary, or is that a stupid question? I know it's one of the most. Well, you really do either love it or hate it, this track. Personally, I'm not a big fan. Screeto will win it tonight. Possible. Usually his qualifying's a good indication of his pace, so we'll see what Screeto can do in qualifying. If the curves were a bit more forgiving, it'd be lovely. I don't. Did you get the beta, Hepburn? The new game? I don't know whether you did or not, but I don't know, you're not supposed to talk about it, but I don't really care. But the curbs are massively more forgiving on the next game. I mean, you can't take liberties. If you try and bounce it across the yellow ones like too much, it will throw you off in the same way, but you don't get murdered for running a normal curb, put it that way, which is nice. Just out of curiosity, how many people are planning on, like, how many people have pre-ordered it or will be buying it pretty much straight away? Because obviously it's useful information for us when deciding how quickly to get the next season going. Obviously we want as many people there as possible. There's not much point in starting it if there's only going to be 5 people. You'll get a day before, okay. Right, let's get some information up. Shall I run telemetry? I don't think there's much point really. Generally speaking, everybody's going to be flat out the day before release. I actually thought, this is the first time I've ever bought a new game from CD Keys, but I thought I'd just see how much it was on there, because obviously I'll be buying it for PC again. And to be fair, I think I got the Champions one for like £60, which is what Steam and obviously PlayStation stuff are charging for the standard one. So I was like, well, I might as well get like the Champion one and get early access and stuff. So Hepburn's the first one out. You only got 2 more races to get all your crashes out before the next game, mate. Dan Roush also coming out onto track. As we can see on the map, we've got Zodak coming out. We've got both the Red Bulls. I've just run a Marshall. Also Fake Jesus coming out as well. So that just leaves us with Scarito, Camu and HK in the pits at the moment. I did enjoy the F2 cars around here, I must say. They felt a lot better than the F1 did. Especially when it rained. I really enjoyed them in the rain, which I did not expect. Oh dear. Oh, pardon me. I'm a little bit tired, as you can probably tell. I do have beer today though, so that's better. So, first flying lap underway. Hepburn gets us started. He's got a slow moving AlphaTauri in front. Hopefully HKM gets out of the way. He's got plenty of time to do so. Well, yeah, if anyone gets a chance, what are we looking at weather-wise? I know you're all out on track at the moment, but if someone wants to let me know, that would be appreciated. HKM does get out of the way very nicely. Stays well off the line. Probably won't have to worry about any other cars on his outlap. There's quite a gap between Hepburn and Dan. Runs that very nice. It's probably the trickiest corner on the track to actually do quickly is the top of the hill. Obviously being so blind, you can either end up cutting it or you run a little bit too wide and then you invalidate on the outside, but Hepburn's really nailed it. Middle sector is looking really nice. Another series of corners where it's so easy to get one offline and before you know it you're screwed for the next 5 or 6 corners. Just a final sector for Hepburn, the two elongated hairpins. Not really particularly tight corners, just long. Final corner to go, holds it nice and tight around the inside, doesn't run too much care on the outside. Looks like a solid lap to get us open to a 1:16.7 for Hepburn. Nice first effort. Flick back to Dan, who's just starting sector 3. See if he can get anywhere near. Got Zodek closing up a little bit behind as well. Obviously the first of our title contenders to get a lap in will be Zodek. So Dan across the line, a 1:18.2, a little bit off Hepburn for now. Zodek a 1:17.1, so 4 tenths off Hepburn. Still in touch, just run to cross the line. And it goes through, 1:16.9, a couple of tenths behind Marshall. Sorry, Marshall's behind him, that's why that got me thinking. A couple of tenths behind Hepburn. Fake Jesus does a 1:17.7, Marshall puts in a 1:17.9, so Hepburn really putting down a really good early pace on his first attempt. That's always a big bonus. It means you know you can push that a little bit harder on your next one, having already got a good lap in. HKM has invalidated on his attempt. Scorito still good at the moment. Just coming in sector 3, showing a purple sector 2. Not sure how much truth there is in that, but I'm sure we'll find out in a moment. Yellow flags, I think that's just the slow moving cars on their in laps. So Scorito around the final corner, taking a bit more of a wide line, looking for a cut back on exit. That can work around here. Scorito 1:16.5. Zodok, you might be right. So Scorito goes to the top of the table, knocks a couple of tenths off Hepburn's attempt. So really good first efforts from those two. Got yellow flags again. I think that's just, is that Marshall? Yeah, it's just Marshall and Fake Jesus on the way in. I think Fake Jesus might still be charging. I know sometimes Fake Jesus does a few laps as like a little bit of a practice. So HKM's going to go again, I think, here. Obviously invalidated the first attempt, so going to go again. Scorito is quick around here. Yeah, he's showing it so far, mate. Dry all race there. Okay, no rain then. Ooh, a bit of a wiggle from HKM on the exit of the chicane. That's got Scorito up ahead, but he's well off the racing line. Stays off track. Nicely done by the Alpine. HKM coming through. End of sector 2, starting sector 3. 56.2 so far. I'm not really sure how that measures up. I haven't paid that much attention, if I'm totally honest. Dan's back out on track, is it? Or did he stay out? I'm not sure actually. He might have stayed out. HKM through the final corner. Run to the line. It's not going to be a top time. Well, 1:18.7, so some time to find for the AlphaTauri at the moment. Who's Jellycane? Jellycane is Dan Roush, Marshall. He had to use another account because for some reason he got locked out of his normal one. So yeah, he went to that one instead. Oh, speaking of Jellycane, around on the final turn. slow moving. Is that? Who's that? Oh, it's Camu. Camu's out. I didn't even see it flash up. I was too busy watching the ass. So Camu's out. I'm literally the first lap out. Hepburn getting ready to go again. So, Fake Jesus stays out of the way, very nice actually. Each game coming in. I think Hepburn's on to watch at the moment. Zodak's starting a lap in a minute. End of sector 1, Hepburn's slightly down, but nothing out of it. Evening, Shonicus. How's it going, mate? Hepburn, exit chicane's clean. Needs to try and find a little bit of time somewhere. I'm not really sure where though. I mean, just tidying up the whole lap, I think. There didn't seem to be any major mistakes from what I saw. Has managed to find, it's just over a 10th up, so I found nearly 2/10 in that middle sector there. Be encouraging. Can he squeeze a little bit more out of sector 3? Zodak's gone round in sector 2. Come back to Hepburn. So Hepburn run to the line. Can he improve? He can. It's a 116.5. Just pips Scarito to pole so far. Not too bad. Just seeing how tier 2 is doing. As tier 1 is a bit delayed. Fair enough, mate. Appreciate you having you along. It's always entertaining in tier 2 anyway. What's it delayed for? Do you know? Who else on a lap? Scarito's on an out lap. Zodak obviously messed that lap up. I think Marshall's going to push that. Let's have a look at one of the other title contenders. The man with all the work to do now. See what the split is at the end of sector 2. I didn't manage to catch it at the end of sector 1. So Marshall at end of sector 2. It's a 55.6, just under a 10th up. PC player can't get an invite. Oh dear. Can be dodgy sometimes, invite system within the game. So Marshall, unless he can find something else, he's not looking at moving up any places on that. Struggling for a little bit of pace so far, but I'll say 117.7, so it does move up. Manages to jump Fake Jesus, improves to P5. Still some time to find for the front guys though, if he wants to be in this battle. But then again, we saw last week, it can fall into your lap as it did for Marshall. You just stay consistent all race and ended up inheriting the lead and took the win. All part of it, got to keep it clean. Just run into sector 3, he's just done an out lap, even though the game says he isn't, so just run will be going in a second. Scarito is pushing, I think. Yep, Scarito's looking very quick, almost 2/10 up again. So that going as well. So Scarito run to the line. Can he nick pole back? Oh, 529! So that boxes, so 5/1000ths of a second between first and second. That is insane. Just runs now in a lap. Just run the end of sector 2. Just over a 10th up, so I mean, it's an improvement's always good, but needs to find a little bit more to get to these front 2. Oh, bit of a wiggle for just run and exit. 116.8, so it does improve. Finds 0.134 of a second, but it's still some to find to get to the end. Scarito, boxing, Hepburn and outlap. HKM and an invalid lap. So nobody actually on a flying lap at the moment. So I think Hepburn's going to be the first one to watch. There's been some serious pace in here, Shonicus, to be fair. These guys have definitely got better as the season's got on. But I think the beauty of it is they've all been pushing each other to get better. Hepburn coming round to start a lap. A third attempt. Can he improve further? I'm going to actually stay with this one so I can look at all the sectors. So Hepburn, end of sector 1 is a 10th up, so there's even more pace coming here potentially. Through the chicane, no dramas, a bit of a clonk on the first curb. Didn't look to unsettle it too much. We'll wait for the next split time. It's really hard to tell around here. Oh, gets away with that one. Loses a little bit of time, still just under a 10th up. Ran incredibly wide, literally could not have run any wider without invalidating. Nice and neat on the penultimate corner, just one to go. Can he keep that little advantage? I think it's... Oh no, he's round on the final corner, he's not the first one to do it. HKM's coming round. Oh, HKM nearly joins him, stays offline. Dan Roush coming to the line. Oh, Ben gets disqualified. Oh. Oh dear. That's heartbreaking. There's going to be some serious anger coming in a moment. Hepburn, I mean, couldn't really do anything about that. Tried to stay out of the way of this game being this game. Yeah, doesn't like you doing that. Scarito's about to go again. Couldn't move all. Yeah, I mean, it's this game, mate. It's done me 2 or 3 times this year. Unless, I mean, you've had it either way, because if you don't move, you're at risk of getting disqualified. If you do, you're likely to cause a crash. So, I mean, you did the right thing. There's no two ways about it. You did the right thing, but this game is just shit, for want of a better way of putting it, to be perfectly honest. Oh, Zodak's gone round. Zodak's got no wing. I think that will be all that Zodak does as well, with 2 close to the end of the session. So 2 Red Bulls going out together. Scarito want to push that. Wait for the split time. 10th up and another 10th in meeting that curve and sets 2 kill my time. Yeah, I saw you hit it quite hard, Hepburn. I didn't think it didn't look to unsettle it too much, but yeah, the end of sector 2, you went incredibly wide. Like there must have been a millimetre of rubber still over that white line. Scarito run to the line. 16-2, so Scarito finds more time. There, got to go to about the start of his range. Yeah, good race. Have a good race, Shonicus. Good luck, mate. Oh, I feel for you, Hepburn. This, I'm a little bit gutted, to be honest. I would have liked seeing you and Scarito get another lap in each, because there were definitely some more time coming there. Jelly Cane's still out there. Not sure. Going to finish this lap and then we'll be out of fuel. So Dan, can he improve at all? 17.5 to B, does improve, puts 17.3 in. So now we're going to be watching. We'll be watching the Red Bull. HKM's going round in the pits. Just the Red Bull boys to cut a lap in. Then I believe. I think Scarito will be on a cooldown now. Would have match would have been down to 1,000th. Yeah, it's shit. It's annoying. It's such a simple thing, but it screws you. Because the only bonus is you know how much pace you've got, and there is only 9 of you tonight. So just run up after sector 1. Marshall 2/10 up apparently. Obviously, Just Run did have a quicker time in originally. So Marshall needs to find 4/10 to improve on his position. Just Run needs to find 6 pretty much. Just Run now 3/10 up. Marshall 6/10 up. So both of them, I mean, Marshall's on course to improve on his position, potentially up into P3. Just Run still got to find another 3/10 in this final sector. Could be done. Just found a good line. 1:16.4 manages to improve time but not position. Marshall does nick P3. 1:17.024. Good final run from both Red Bulls. Managed to get a 2-3 on the grid. Maybe reset track in the future doesn't ghost you, but I suppose it would put them off still. Yeah, I mean, resetting to track, if you can justify it, I don't mind that. But I mean, there is a good chance you will be reported for it and it will be investigated. That's why the general rule has always been do not do it, because the second you say, oh well, we'll have exceptions, everybody will do it. I mean, we have had it before where someone has done it, maybe they've been beached on a curb or whatever, and you physically can't move. And on that occasion, sometimes it has been sort of let go, if you know what I mean. So, I mean, it's at your discretion. Our stand is it's not allowed, and you will probably get reported for it. But if you can justify it, I don't see why you couldn't argue that fact. So Scarito does take pole. Very good performance from Scarito. 3 really quick laps. Just Run takes second. Marshall third. I'm gutted for it, but so we'll see then. What happens in the race? Is it still showing drive for the race? I know sometimes it changes its mind once you're in. Oops. Oh, F123 is just finished installing. Sweet. Curious to see what everyone does tyre-wise. Obviously there's always a good chance of safety cars around here. The walls are very close to some quick corners. See what happens. So predicted pit stop strategies. I mean, realistically, only one of them is actually going to be done. Nobody's going to be 2-stopping. I don't even know why it shows it an option. It's either going to be medium hards or hard mediums. Detail. So, just Zodak and Camu going for the hards. So only 2 of them looking to go along in this. I'm surprised Scarito didn't. Scarito's usually a guy who likes to run the harder compound at the start. But obviously, wants to get on with it, doesn't want to get stuck in that traffic given the pace that he has, and that's understandable. Zodak just gonna have to keep it clean by this time. Camus the same. Hepburn, I think, putting the mediums on, looking to blast through some traffic. I mean, there was two ways of going it for Hepburn. You either put the medium on, try and move forward, or use the hard and try and be more patient. But I can understand why Hepburn's got a mediums, because he does like a pass or two. I'd be curious to see if Red Bull can work together to try and take the fight to Screeto a little bit. I think he does have a bit of a pace advantage over him around here, but maybe they can work together and try and find something. Obviously, they are both, although they're teammates, they are both still in this title fight, so they're not going to want to give each other too much. The top four actually all in the title fight. It's almost in order. If Zodak was at the top, it would be in order of the championship. Let's get round to the end of this formation lap. Camus moving very slowly at the back. Is Camus in AI? It sounds very AI to me. It looks very AI. Any bad parkers? Oh, Zodak. Pressure's getting to him. So Camus does finally join us on the grid. Oh, that's a better camera. Who's going to get the better launch? 5 light. I really hope they fix this on the next game so the lights actually correspond to the start for the drivers. So misleading. Sometime around now, I imagine. There we go. Screeto. Oh, looks like Just Run gets a better launch. He does indeed. Marshall gets a terrible start. Gets absolutely swallowed up. Hepburn's got a mega launch down the inside. Zodak's dropped back. We've got contact. Marshall and Camus. So Just Run in the lead. Screeto second. Fate Jesus third. Hepburn up to fourth. Made 5 places up off the start. It's an immense start from McLaren. Dan Roush fifth. Zodak drops a couple of places down to 6th. H-Game 7th. Marshall, after starting 3rd, is now down in 8th. Dropped 5 positions at the start. Camus in 9th. Now we'll see if everyone can keep it clean for the next lap or two. Get into a rhythm. I imagine Camus in AI here actually. He's losing a lot of time. We'll see if Just Run can find a bit more pace in race trim over Screeto. Really needs to. I was going to find it hard to beat him, I imagine. Pressing all the wrong buttons. There we go. Hepburn, I would think, is going to want to get by Fake Jesus as soon as possible as well. Wants to stick with Screeto, who are very matched in. What is up with me? Very closely matched in qualifying. Pit strategies pop up again. Again, I don't really think there's much relevance to the alternate strategy. Hepburn looking to the outside of turn 1 on Fake Jesus. A little bit wide, it's going to make him slow an exit. Still pushing. Camus been in the pit lane. Can't get it done. So I think this is where we're most likely to see a move at the moment. Marshall also close to the back H-Game. Oh, big wiggle from Hepburn. Calm down. Take it easy. It's a long race. You can see Screeto and Just Run are starting to gap Fake Jesus. He's already outside that DRS window. Screeto's still very much in touch with Just Run, looking very comfortable, sat in second actually. Seems very at home around this track. Hepburn still close. Zodak also pushing Dan Roush. Obviously starting in the hard tyres, that would explain the bad getaway. Fastest lap after fastest lap from Screeto and Just Run. Hepburn looking again to the outside. Can he keep it a little bit tighter on exit this time? Get a better drive? I think he did. The camera is terrible. He did. Gets a better drive. Hepburn gets a move done on the exit of turn 1. He's low on energy though, that's the downside. Only bonus being this track is impossible to overtake around unless you're on that straight. So it does now have a chance to build a gap over the remainder of the lap. See if Hepburn can start to close the front two down. We've got Zodak. He's still just about in touch with Dan. Not really pressuring him as much as he was half a lap ago. Marshall has got past HKM. Takes P7. We've got Camus who's a whole 36 seconds off 8th. So I don't really know what's happening there. Oh, Hepburn's round! No! Oh, it's happened again. It's not done. He's not out. He's not out. That's the main thing. I know I want to lose his head right now, but he is not out yet. Let those tyres cool. Take your time. There could be safety cars or anything yet. So just run setting a fastest lap. Trying to stretch Scarito, but that's not really going to happen so easily now. DRS is in play. Fake Jesus. Really, obviously, that's made a big gap now. Hepburn's lost it. Gap between second and third, almost 3 seconds. Dan Roush still in touch, as is Zodak. So, little 3-car train starting to form behind third place. Marshall will be looking to get on the back of that as well. Not a huge deal going on otherwise at the minute. I think it may sort of neutralise a little bit until we've seen the pit stops this race. Everybody kind of happy to sit where they are right now. Well, I say everyone. The front two. Scrio's looking pretty comfortable. Fake Jesus is losing time to the front two at about a second a lap, maybe even more. Obviously, Zodak's looking. Oh, Marshall's round! Oh, half round. Half spin for Marshall. Does save it. Loses time, but does keep it pointing in the right direction, sort of. Stays ahead of Hepburn. Obviously, a quicker spin. Fake Jesus starting to come under pressure from Dan. Zodak's dropped off a touch. Obviously, being on the harder tyres is going to be slow for probably the first 6 or 7 laps anyway, before he starts to feel some sort of decent grip from his tyres. Front two still glued together. Obviously, these positions are very important for these two. Even more so for Zodak and Marshall. They'll be looking to finish further forward than they currently are. But these two are currently sat 3rd and 2nd in the championship respectively. I'm curious to see whether Scarito actually wants to try and get this move done, or whether he's just happy to sit where he is, knowing he's got a little bit of pace in hand. We'll get the telemetry on. Yeah, Scarito's sitting on a lot of battery and not even deploying it. Just Run still got plenty as well, but probably about 15% down, maybe 20 at a push. Looks as though these two are just happy to pull away from the rest of the pack at this point. Dan still on the back of Fake Jesus, close but can't seem to get it done. Fake Jesus has got a full battery, obviously not feeling under any threat, not feeling the need to push any harder, or just completely forgot that he's got a hybrid car. That's possible too, I guess. Whereas Dan and Zodak have used quite a bit more, trying to stay in touch. HK in a little bit of no man's land. Marshall looking to close him down again for the 2nd time in this race. Hepburn as well. Got those tyres cooled down, trying to get back into a rhythm. Got the lone Williams out back still. The front two are the ones to watch for the moment. Scarito having a little look, half a look. Just trying to put Just Run off his line a little bit, I think. Just running wide as a bit of precaution, didn't really need to. Just got frightened off the line a little bit, I think. Oh, Scarito's gone wide though. I don't know whether he was trying to slow Just Run down to get a run him down the straight, but it's not really worked. Yeah, Skreto's going to try now. Going to push. Nothing being deployed from Just Run. Obviously thinks he's got it covered. Can Skreto go all the way around the outside? Needs a good exit. Just Run now deploying. Now thinks he's under pressure. DRS still in play, very close to each other. Just Run shows Skreto the outside again, but nothing doing. So it's a failed attack on that occasion. They're both very even on energy now, actually. Skreto's burnt through quite a bit doing that. Fitchies is now 7 seconds behind the front two. They're pulling away at a significant rate. I would imagine in a couple of laps, so Zodak's going to want to try and get past this pair. Now got Marshall on the back of HKM, and Hepburn will be joining them very shortly. I would imagine a good middle sector will see him pretty much within DRS range. Oh, HKM runs wide. HKM gets around the final corner. He's going to have Marshall behind with DRS, as is Hepburn. So both of them are going to be closing up at a serious rate of knots. Fit Jesus again under pressure from Dan. Dan can't quite get it done. He's really low on battery now. How's it going further back? HKM does retain position. They all stay as they were. They were just about within DRS, but not really in attacking range. It's not a particularly long DRS straight, this one. Oh, HKM does run wide though. Marshall's right on his gearbox. Oh, and wide again. Not really where you want to be at this point. Ran wide again. 3 corners in a row. Now loses both positions to Marshall and Hepburn. So HKM drops from 6th straight down to 8th in one go. Seem to have absolutely zero grip at that point. The 3 cars battling over 3rd, still very much together. Zodak looking a little bit more lively now. I'm guessing those tyres either hard to come to life a little bit more, or the mediums are starting to lose a little bit of that extra grip. Because Zodak definitely looks more racy at this point. Oh no! Zodak's gone round. I need to stop watching people. So Zodak down to 8th. Loses a lot of time. Jelly Kane having another look, but can't get it done. Marshall under pressure from Hepburn. It's a very easy track to have a spin, this. So many strange traction zones when you're still having to turn. So we'll see now if Marshall can hold Hepburn back for any length of time. We've got a yellow flag again. Zodak's round again. He has been in the wall. Has he got any damage? I can't see any. Whether there's something that doesn't show up graphically, I'm not sure. Really needs to get his head in the game. He's round again. Really going to need a safety car now at this point. Or people to crash, which again is entirely possible, but Zodak a hell of a long way back. It's going to be, by the time those tyres have cooled, it's going to be well 25 seconds plus. He's round again. Got Camus coming around the corner as well. Zodak now, it's going to be a long way. This is going to be nearly 40 seconds. Must have got to leader. 53 seconds off the lead now. Almost round again. The tyres are absolutely screaming. They've had plenty of wheel spin. Really needs to just try and keep consistent, keep himself on that lead lap, and hope for some sort of safety car later on. He's on the way into the pits. I don't know if there's damage or what. He seems very weird on the steering. The downside of this is he is going to get lapped. No wing, just a new set of tyres. Is he going to get lapped? It's going to be close. If he does, that could be game over to hope of any sort of decent points. Just Run and Scooter coming down the pit lane. You really need to get those tyres fired up and get on with it. Hepburn now 2/10 off the back of Marshall, so there could well be a move on here. DRS at play. Hepburn looking to the inside down into turn 1. Marshall leaves in space. Pretty straightforward move. Gets it done. Why does it change that camera? It's the worst camera in the world. You can't see anything. So Hepburn moves up to P5. Marshall drops to P6. So Just Run and Scarito. Really, these two are in, well, I don't want to say it. Every time I talk about it, someone spins. But as far as the title goes, these two are going to be picking up some really serious points so far. I don't know, as it stands, I believe this would take Scarito to P1, Just Run to P2. I think. I can't remember what the standings were. I'll check them afterwards. Obviously, even though he's last, Zodak's still scoring points. Just needs to try and avoid those blue flags, stay on that lead lap, and then if a safety car does appear, he will get the benefit of it and be allowed to catch the pack up. Fake Jesus under pressure. I think this is the closest Dan's been. Absolutely zero battery left. These two have been at each other for a good number of laps. Fake Jesus is wide on exit. I'm not sure Dan's close enough though. He's not. Can't get it done. So still that Haas remains behind the Mercedes. Gap from second to third, now 14.2 seconds. HKM still a no one sign. Marshall not managed to stay away at Burn. I thought he might be able to stay in that DRS, but hasn't got the pace at the minute, and he's gone round. Why is it every time I look at someone? Every time. Marshall now has a spin. Hepburn's influence is stretching far and wide over this race. Speaking of Hepburn, now 1.1 off the back of Dan and Fake Jesus. Scarito still sat quite happily behind Just Run. Zodak, I think Zodak is pulling away a little bit now. Obviously on brand new mediums, should have more pace, so should be safe from blue flags at this moment in time. Got Dan still behind Fake Jesus. Hepburn's now in play as well. Hepburn's showing low fuel actually. How much fuel is Hepburn carrying? Let me get rid of that so I can see. 22.6 laps. So it's close. It's not massively under fuel. In fact, Dan's okay and he's on 22.7. So he's about 0.3 of a lap down. Who else is low? Just Run's low. 22.1. So Just Run is going to have to do a bit of fuel saving. As is Marshall. Marshall 21.8. Fuel saving is going to come into this, I believe. Scarito a little bit wide, looking for a quick exit. Zodak sets the fastest lap on his new mediums. Scarito, I feel he's just happy to be where he is. Doesn't want to be pushed particularly. Oh, Camus round through the polystyrene marker board. I think Dan's just pitted. He has. Dan's in. First one to pull the trigger on the schedule stops. Going to be going for a set of hards, I imagine. Hepburn looking to get this move done. Oh, fake Jesus, I don't know what's up with me. I can't talk today. Looks for a cutback, gets a very good exit. Fake Jesus does have more battery, but isn't going to defend it. Obviously knows Hepburn's a lot quicker at this stage. Maybe going to try and stay on the back of him. We'll see. So Hepburn moves back up to P3. Back to where he was, but obviously a long way behind those two leaders now. 17.5 seconds. And the start of the pit stops has spread things out even further. Curious to see when everyone else is going to come in. Who's going to be the first to blink out of the front two? Curious to see whether there's an undercut or an overcut come into play, or whether they'll box at the same time. Just Run feeling under pressure, starting to use a little bit of battery down the straights. Screeto not really trying to push at all. Hepburn is now in, got that move done. Fake Jesus, who has followed him in. So looking to try and make sure they don't get undercut by Dan Roush. HKM stays out. Marshall on the way into the box. So we'll see now where Dan ends up relative to Hepburn and Fake Jesus. Should have the benefit of fresher tyres on the outlap, but obviously it would have been cold. Hepburn now at pit exit. I think Hepburn's going to be clear. Dan's going to be very close to Fake Jesus into turn 1. Dan's actually on mediums. Did Dan start on hards? I can't remember. There was 2 cars, wasn't there? I can't remember if Dan started on hards. I never took notice. Well, anyway, Dan's on the quicker tyres. Whether he can stay on those to the end, I'll find out in a little bit. I'll have a little look on Race Director. Screeto's in. Screeto pulls the trigger. So the first of the leaders is in. Needs a good stop here and a quick outlap to try and get clear of Just Run. Is it a decent stop? Looks to be. Good stop from Alpine. Screeto is in now to get on to the hard tyres. Obviously going to the end. Comes out in a ton of clear track. Oh, Zodak's round again. Zodak's round. Just Run has now lapped him. Obviously Just Run will be coming in and then this lap, so he will get unlapped. No, he won't. He's round again. Zodak's having a nightmare race. Not one he's going to want to watch back, I don't imagine. Tyres are now going to be really hot again. Hepburn still got Dan for close company actually. The mediums providing Dan with some extra grip at this point. Zodak's gone round again. So he's now going to get lapped by Screeto. Hopefully they didn't put Screeto off too much on his outlap. Just Run does now bail into the pits, so we'll see how this battle pans out at the front. Do we get a good stop? It looks good. Looks like a decent stop. I think staying out one lap might actually be a little bit quicker. Staying out that extra lap because you've got warmer tyres, but obviously you're going to be very vulnerable on your outlap. Screeto, yeah, the gap's going to be pretty much the same. Only difference being Screeto's got hot tyres. Whether we can get it done or not is another thing. Zodak has had enough. I can't say I'm surprised. Yeah, it just runs under serious pressure from Screeto. Who's sector 1. Yeah, not ideal, mate. Not your night tonight. Orange wing, or rear wing, or... That'd explain why you were spinning so much. Screeto's absolutely glued to the back of Just Run. I'm wondering if he's... oh, showing some pace now. Get some... That's an unreal launch out of that corner. Titles of Just Run a Screeter. Not particularly, mate. You did have a lead, and it is a sprint next week, so there are more points on offer. Anything can happen yet. I'm pretty sure you've thought that once this season already, at least. So Screeter does get it done. Just Run, try and hang on. Both of them now low on battery, so we'll see if Screeter does have that extra pace to try and break over the one lap. Hepburn's now clear in P3. Zodak quit. Yeah, he retired. He got orange rear wing, Kayla. So he just got absolutely no downforce on his rear. Jellycane and Dan. Jellycane and Dan, the same person. Jellycane and Fake Jesus still going at it. Dan will be sick of seeing that Mercedes this race. Fucked it. That's the other way of putting it. Just Run. I think he's struggling a little bit here. Camo's retired in the pits as well. So no points for Williams today. Just Run's really trying to scare with Screeto, but I think Screeto's got that pace. He is going to keep him outside DRS, I think. I did say earlier, Screeto looked very comfortable following Just Run. Screeto, fastest lap of the race, 1:19.676. So really now trying to build a gap and disappear off into the sunset. Hepburn, I mean, I can't see Hepburn getting any higher without some sort of outside influence, be it a safety car or a VSC and a cheap stop later on maybe, but yeah, the spin earlier on has definitely cost Hepburn a shot at this win, as well as being disqualified in quali. Obviously that didn't help either. Fake Jesus and Dan are still absolutely together. While I'm at it, actually, I'm going to have a quick look. No, I'm not, because the game's broken. And see, what did Dan go to? Jellycane. Oh no, medium to medium, so Dan does have to pit again. Obviously Zodak and Camo did as well, but they've both retired, so we are going to see Dan pit again. So that may, I mean, as it stands, that'll probably drop Dan down into 7th. Behind Marshall. What's Screeter doing? Still holding a 1.3 gap, Just Run not able to close back within that DRS window. So there's no free energy saving at this point for that Red Bull. Anything else going on? Only these two that have been together forever and a day. But it's been pretty much the same story all race. Dan gets very close down into turn 1, but Fake Jesus just seems to know where he's going to be and manages to stay just far enough ahead. Aside from that, we do have, I think Marshall is starting to close in on HKM a little bit. Ian's 0.54 in red of fuel. Did he not learn from last week when he nearly ran out of fuel? So it was low on fuel then. So Just Run showing as underfueled, Hepburn showing as underfueled, HKM and Marshall too. All of them I would imagine to different extents, but work to be done by them. Scirito showing as perfectly fine. So no fuel saving required there. Just Run, I would imagine, would love to be in that DRS and be able to lift a little bit on the straights, but does not have that luxury right now. Let's see, Just Run, I'll try and look at the little dashboard over. So 14.8 laps of fuel for Just Run, 14.9 for Marshall, but Marshall obviously a good half a lap behind, so he's probably slightly worse off. We've got 14.4 for HKM and 14.9 for Hepburn. So I think Hepburn must be very close on fuel now actually, because he's almost the same. He's almost the same as Scirito. So Hepburn must only be 0.1 or 0.2 under, I would have thought. in his SC. Yeah, I think quite a few of them would appreciate an SC. I think everybody except from Scrito and Just Run. There have been plenty of solo incidents in this race. I don't think I've seen anybody actually come together aside from some small touches into turn one. Still just about staying out of that 1 second. It's slowly coming down. Just Run does seem to be closing up a tiny amount. But again, it's going to have to save some fuel later. Swinging both ways, this could still very easily go either way at the front. Hepburn's just going to be sat there hoping that they take each other out, I would imagine. Fake Jesus still holding Dan at bay. Dan's starting to save a little bit of battery again now, so I'm guessing charging up for a push in a few laps time. Someone else that I really appreciate a safety car so we get for that free stopping. Marshall's not catching HKM at the rate I thought he would. I wonder if there's some damage there. It does seem unusually not slow, but doesn't seem to have that edge that he's had in previous races. Just Run 1.4 back, 1.3, so it's gone the other way again, a couple of tenths the other way. I think if Scrito can keep Just Run out of DRS up to sort of lap 30, we're going to see Just Run start to fall back, because he's really going to have to start doing something about his fuel at that point. Going to have to do some serious fuel saving. Hepburn's now not showing as low on fuel, so I must have been right. It must have been close. How are the other two doing? HKM's still red. Marshall's still red. Marshall's got the little spanner on. Does that mean he's got damage? I've never really understood what that was for, but I'm guessing that means he's got some sort of damage. Nobody else showing that. So I would imagine that's some sort of irreparable damage that he's picked up early on. It must have been early on, because he hasn't really been in any other incidents. I haven't seen him in any walls. Oh, Just Run's round! Just Run's lost it! Trying his best to save Scrito, but around he goes. He's going to have to 3-point turn it as well. Can't get it spun round. Oh, that's put him so far back. And all of a sudden, I would imagine, because Just Run's going to be a little bit slow now, Hepburn is going to be smelling blood. That gap's come down from 20-ish seconds down to around about 5. Scrito will be very thankful of that sight. Can now really start to control his pace a little bit more. Doesn't need to push flat out. Hepburn, as I said, 5 seconds behind. So can he do anything about Just Run? Fake Jesus still got Jelly Cane behind. Oh, that's a little bit naughty. Fake Jesus running him right up to the wall. Dan does get it done. Fake Jesus looking for a cutback. Going to be shown the outside, as he's done to Dan so many times this race. Again looking for a cutback, but nothing doing. So Dan does get through. Sorry didn't make it. Yeah, no worries, Silas. Just in future, if yeah, it's fine. Just obviously, if you are aware you're not going to make it in future, just let me know so I don't wait for you or whatever. I don't think this battle's over. I think we're going to see this come around again. Hepburn's got that gap down to 4.7. Obviously, Just Run still has the fuel save as well, and that's probably just made his fuel even worse, having that spin. He's just burnt up fuel, getting turned around, and not making any progress in the race. So another quick look at the dashes. So Just Run on 11.0, Hepburn 11.2, so it's not much. It's not much at all now, so he must have started to manage that a little bit. Screeto with a healthy 17-second lead now. Not even really in penalty range unless there's some sort of safety car later on. I mean, nobody thought when I come last week and then it came right at the end of the Brazil race. Fate Jesus and Dan are still very much together. I mean, Fate Jesus doesn't even really need to fight this so much. He knows that Dan's going to have to pit again. Well, I'm saying he knows. May not do, but Dan does have to pit again. Marshall is within the RSHKM, but still not really making any serious inroads. If you just kept it on track. Yeah, I mean, it's one of them things. You can't, inevitably, you will have bad races. There's no point in winding yourself up over it. You're still in a title fight. Yeah, it might be harder than it was, but it's by no means impossible. Still a race to go next week. Fate Jesus having a little bit of a look, not really committing to any sort of move. Gap between Just Run and Hepburn at 4.4 seconds, so it's leveled off a little bit. Now down to 9 laps to go. HKM under a bit more pressure from Marshall. Both these two still underfueled. So this may become a snail race at the end. Hepburn's got it down to 3.9. 4.1 again. Cursed it. Hepburn does have a little bit of an edge on pace though by those things. Just Run starting to close Screeto down, gained about a second since I last looked, but to be honest I would imagine Screeto's pretty much cruising at this point. No real need to push at all. This is absolutely perfect for him. I think he may be carrying the fastest lap as well. Where is it? That's it. Yeah, so Screeto currently got the fastest lap, looking at a maximum score, which for his title challenge is pretty good. Exactly what he would have wanted. Fate Jesus and Dan, here they go again. Down into turn 2, Fate Jesus on the outside. It's a long way around, but he's going to make it work. Brilliant move from Fate Jesus. Can he keep it tight on the exit of 3 or 4 or whatever it is? Does. Gets that move done. Very nice move. Remain patient around the outside. Got it done. Marshall and HKM still going at it. HKM stays ahead. Marshall still. I'll have to go on board because the camera's not giving me anything. These two still going at it. Oh, HKM's gone too deep. Is he going to yield? He does. Stays off, stays out of the way, yields that one. Put up a bit of a fight, but couldn't keep it on track in the end. Hepburn and Just Run's gap pretty much as it was, 4.3 seconds, so not closing up at any sort of rate anymore. Dan now does come in for that pit stop. I would imagine is about to drop down to the back of the pack. I would imagine he's going for softs though. So could be looking for a fastest lap and maybe even chasing these two down. It's going to be close on pit exit. I think he will lose both positions, but he's going to be pretty much... may not lose out to HKM actually. The soft should get up to temperature within a few corners. Yeah, so only loses one place and is right in touch with Marshall, so P5 is still very much on the cards for Dan here. Marshall. I mean, if Dan gets within a second, he's going to struggle to hold him back. Must have been struggling for pace all along. Oh no, he's not showing the spanner sign now. I don't understand this game. I can only assume Marshall's carrying some sort of damage. Usually I expect him to be quicker than this. But Dan's been showing good pace as well. He's been running up there. Now on the quickest tyres. Everybody else is really spread out. Not really a great deal to look at. Here comes Dan. He's within 6/10. Is there going to be a move coming this time down the straight? Bring on F123. Can't wait to delete this game, never touch it again. Yeah, you and me both, mate. Oh, Marshall's round! He's dropped it. That's going to be 7th. So Dan picks a position easier than he thought he would. Well, that's really took away any sort of battles now. If we're going to get a safety car, there's only about 2 laps left for it to happen. Hepburn's closing up again, 2.8. So Just Run. So Just Run can't afford to rest at this point. He's got a fast approaching McLaren if he lifts at all. I know Hepburn would love to steal second away. He's had a pretty torrid race. Some telemetry for a moment until the battle gets a little bit closer. If it does, keep a bit more of a clean screen. Is that Marshall in? Marshall's going to try for a fastest lap, I think. Puts on a set of softs. It's not going to be that far ahead of Scarito. Need to get on with it. Dan's gone round. Marshall's going to be very close to blue flags. Gets blue flags, so Marshall gonna have to yield. Dan still off track. Blue flags have now gone. He's managed to get far enough ahead. Have they? Or was that for the yellows? I think they might have just changed for yellows at that moment. They have now gone. So HKM, by staying on track, has managed to pick up P5 from Kane and Marshall. Hepburn, 1.6 behind Just Run. This could well be game on for P2 before the end. Let's have a quick look at those energy levels. Just Run be saving? No, he hasn't. Not at all. I thought Just Run might have been saving and that's why the gap had dropped. But no, it just does not have the pace. Oh, it been very wide on the last corner. So you would think Hepburn's got a couple of laps. In fact, probably not even that. He's got about a lap and a half to get within that DRS, because the last lap it's not going to be much use to you. Marshall's looking for fastest lap. I'm not sure he's going to get it at this rate though. He's not really pulling away from Scarito all that much. Obviously Scarito's on very old hards now. Maybe the stored energy will prove to be enough. It will be a pretty crucial point. Although to be honest, as it stands, I'm not sure this will be enough to stay in that title fight for Marshall. I will have to work it out when the standings are done, but I don't think he's scoring enough points. Marshall does nick the fastest lap, 1:19.6. That's very close to. Yeah, literally just seals away from Scarito. 600ths of a second. Just does enough. So 1.8 between Just Run and Hepburn. Maybe so close and yet so far by the end. The only other thing that may happen, Marshall is closing down Dan Roush. I think this could well be a move that's on by the end of the lap. These two obviously are on lap 33, not 34. Just ahead of the lead car. Yellow flag? What yellow flag for? So it came out of fuel? It comes out of fuel 2 laps before the end. Oh, he's going to drop right to last. That's massive underfueling. Wow. Hepburn's now showing us low on fuel again. Marshall is going to be borderline. These two, while they're fighting, are going to come up on that Alpha Tauri somewhere around the middle sector, I think. Marshall get it done, he can't. So Dan does manage to hold him. Oh, he's got wide though. That's always going to be close to there. Just about leave each other enough room. It's all very close. Oh, Marshall's round again. Marshall. He's not going to get past Dan Roush. He should still get HKM. Obviously being out of fuel, he's so far down. Scarito does have to lift as well. Scarito obviously on his final lap, which I've missed. I was too busy watching others battle. HKM might actually. Will he survive Marshall? Because he's lapped. That may well happen. Where is Marshall? Marshall's got to get him before the line. Scarito does take the win. It's an absolutely superb drive. Marshall doesn't get him. He's so close. Doesn't get it done. Just Run does hang on to second. Hepburn runs out of fuel on the run to the line. Fake Jesus will come home in fourth. Dan will have to do that extra lap, which I'm sure he's over the moon about. Just, as I say, unreal drive from Scarito. Put in a seriously good qualifying, dominated that race. Just no mistakes. Looked comfortable throughout. Fake Jesus does finish in P4. Just out of fuel after the last corner. Yeah, I thought he must have been. Yep, to be fair, mate, after you'd had your moments, you put in some seriously good laps there. Just wait for Dan to make his way around to the line. I thought he must have had damage, Marshall. I thought you looked a bit more off the pace. Jellycane does finally come around and finishes. Takes P5. Well, that was a pretty straightforward one. Plenty of spins, but no drama to speak of, really. Enjoyed that. I was pushing so much, needed that DRS for the front two here. So yeah. To be fair, your start was ridiculous, Hepburn. Got a seriously good launch. Wait for the little podium celebrations. I'll have a look and see if I can do some quick calculations while I'm still streaming. Try and get a bit more insight into how things pan out in the championship. Let's have a quick look. So, wait, what am I doing? What? Hang on. How would I do this? So I'm trying to figure out how to be a streamer as I'm going here. You know what? I'll just look at it myself and just work it out in my head, because it's going to confuse me too much otherwise. So I'll look through the standings first. So Scarito takes the win. As I said, ridiculously good drive. No one really got near him the entire race. Just Run was there. Well, I say it, no one got near him. Just Run spent a lot of the race with him, but when it came down to it, didn't quite have the pace that Scarito had to offer. Just Run takes P2, Hepburn in P3, both of them putting in very similar fastest laps. Fake Jesus in 4th, Jellycane in 5th, aka Dan Roush. HK and Marshall both finish a lap down within a tenth of each other after HK ran out of fuel. Marshall picking up fastest lap. Camus in 8th, unfortunately DNFing, as did Zodak after his rear wing damage, so 0 points for the pair of them. Shame wasn't more drivers, but can't play people late in this game. It happens every year, mate, and it's especially so given the state of this game, to be honest, as it's demonstrated again today with the shit that it pulls. Let's have a little flick back to that. In fact, I'll get the standings up. So we'll flick back to drivers. So this is how it stood before we started the race. Obviously Zodak fails to score, so he will stay on 248.5. Scarito picks up 25 points, so that will take him up to 271. So that's a decent lead. So 271 for Scarito. Just Run picks up 18, which will move him on to 245. So he remains, sorry, 255. 245. 255, 271. So Scarito has a lead of 16 points over Just Run in second going into the final race. Something like that. Yeah, something like that. Marshall, where did Marshall finish? Was it P6 or P7? They spun, didn't it? I think Marshall finished P7, so what is it, P7? Oh god, I can't remember what the points are. Hang on. Oh my god. What is up with me today? So for P7 you pick up, of course I'll look at one where no one finished P7. 6 points. So what will that do for things? So 6 points for Marshall will take him up to 220.5. So I believe the best Marshall could do now, so it'd be 25 plus 8 plus a fastest lap, so you'd be looking at 34 point maximum. So the highest Marshall can get is 254.5, I believe. So he's now, yeah, now the best Marshall can do is finish third ahead of Zodak, but that really relies on Zodak not getting any sort of points at all. So the top three is still in it, given that it's a sprint race. Scarito's very much in the driver's seat. Just Run still in with a decent shout. Zodak needs, well, he needs the other two to have a really poor weekend to try and get back up to that top spot. But as we've seen in past races, they can be crashes at any point. Anybody can have a spin. anything could happen. Aside from that, I mean, obviously when the standings are done, I will work it out properly. I'm hoping to do a whole thing on the intro where I list everything, every scenario, given that if I've got time to do it. Hopefully I'll be able to get every scenario on to see who can do what with regards to the championship. We do obviously finish in Silverstone for the sprint weekend. I'm looking forward to that one. I'll be glad to see the back of this game. I am looking forward to getting going next season, getting back to racing myself. But I have, like I say, I have very much enjoyed commentating on these races. It's been good fun. It's been a change of pace. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Thanks for getting involved, giving me some things to talk about in my comments. Thank you to Zodak, thank you Hepburn, Marshall, Curley, who else have I missed? Let's see what I've missed. I've missed someone. Shaunicus when he jumped in. Also to Silas. Unfortunately, mate, you were just a little bit too late to join. I'll record spins next year so you don't miss. Well, you might be in tier 1, mate. I mean, you probably won't, but you might be, you never know. Yeah, anyway, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed that one. We're back again, same time next week for the grand finale. We'll see who can take that title. This one's definitely going to be worth more than most titles, just because of how close it's been. But yeah, hope you all have a good weekend, and I'll catch you in a week's time. See you later.